Podcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good morning, everyone. This is Cynthia with Insurance Agency Marketing. Thank you for joining us this Friday morning. We're going to go ahead and get started talking a little bit about FireLight, the new e-app platform that we've brought on board for your annuity applications. Before we do get started about that, I want to mention a few things to you. We do have our Athene-only production incentive going on right now. This will take all of your Athene production through June 30th of next year and count for our Oasis to Baja, Mexico. Wanted to let you know that we are doing double trip credits on this trip for November and December. So all of your business that gets paid during November and December will also count as double points. If you have questions on this, be sure to let us know after the webinar or speak with your marketer. We're getting ready to announce this. Watch for details in the next coming days. Our big trip that we do every couple of years is going to also be running simultaneously for qualifications. This one will go through December 31st of next year, and then the locations will be announced soon. So do watch your mailbox emails for those updates. We do plan on making a big announcement on this here within the month of November, hopefully earlier in the month with the details so that you can see where you're going. But this one is also going on right now, and there's some double points on that as well. So all of the business e-app submitted, paper app submitted gets you double points. We do have our website. You will need to go to our website in order to access the FireLight tool, but while you're there, there's also lots of other beneficial tools for you to access. So be sure to check out imsinc.com for your latest information there. For FireLight right now, we're doing a big announcement with it. So we wanted to also share in the joy excitement with you guys with some promotions. So every app you do each week will be put into a drawing. There's going to be some cash giveaways, other prizes. Your very first application, we're going to send you some thank you swag from IMS. So be sure to check it out when we're done. Go in, complete an app. I really do think you'll find you like it. And once we get through some slides that talk about it, you'll be able to go in and just complete an application. So FireLight, what it is a way to go in to an e-app platform. A lot of the carriers have it, but we've also gone in and set up an instance that is exclusive to IMS. It's on our website. Once you get in there, you'll have access to several carriers. From there, you will always have the correct current paperwork. It is intuitive, so if you tell it that you need to have a replacement form, it's going to include that for you. If you answer a question that maybe needs a non-resident form, it'll pull that up for you. But let's say none of that applies. It's not going to make you fill it out. So it does help eliminate all the extra guesswork that goes into an application. Because applications come in good order, it helps you to reduce that processing time because it will not let you submit it unless everything is answered. Of course, doesn't know if it's accurate, just going to know there's an answer there. A few of them do a little bit of checking on the suitability form, but there's no guarantee. So they're still going to rely on you and us here to help you with that part of it, help you make sure it's complete in other ways. It does store everything in one place, so you can go back and look at it later. Right now we have several great carriers available on FireLight. Most of them are annuity based, although we do have a couple life insurance ones. We do have more coming on a regular basis. We will have Equitable live early next week. We did just get the go ahead on that one. And several of these others are in the process. If there's a carrier here that you see and you want to take advantage of, do please go in there. If there's a carrier you don't see and you're not sure if maybe it's available, reach out to us. You can email us here at IAMS and we can certainly see about getting it added, but they are working on bringing on more carriers on a regular basis. How do you get access to FireLight? Well, first you want to go in to www.imsinc.com, go under the eApp Solutions and register. Right there, it's just your name and your email address. And then we will be able to approve, give you access to FireLight. That's done pretty instantly. As long as we're here during business hours, I go in right away, or someone on my team, and we'll get you approved and get you access. From there, you'll go back in under that same eApp tab, and you'll now see a FireLight option. You'll go ahead and click on FireLight, and that will take you into the eApp platform. From there, pretty simple, you just click on Start New Application. Had you started a new application and you need to continue with one, it should be on the left side if it's a recent activity. If it's not, you can go into Manage All Activities, take a peek and see the applications you started. I think that's a great tool because we might want to prepare ahead of time before we talk to the client and just have their basic information that we already know about them in there. You can go ahead and get that started. From here, you would go ahead and select the state that you're going to write the policy in, the product type, and the carrier. So you can go ahead and move within that. The forms, by default, it's going to pick up all the mandatory forms and then give you some optional choices. But this isn't going to be everything. As I mentioned, it's intuitive. So as you go through the questions and answers, it will add any extra things that maybe you see here, but it knows you need. Again, just fill in the blanks. It looks just like your paper app, but it is an online version. As you can see, there's some things there in red. Those are mandatory required, and hey, we haven't answered them yet, so will you please complete them, is what it's telling us. And if you look to the top left, it's 32% complete, which means we have a ways to go to get this one complete, and it's not going to let us submit it to the carrier until we get that to 100%. Just continue through answering the questions, and at any point you can click on that top left corner and get a menu like this, and it says, okay, here you go, you've done a great job. These things are in black, you've finished those, but these few things in red need some attention, and you can click right on that item, and it'll take you right to the page, and then you can see on that page what you might need to complete. For instance, this one added a non-resident questionnaire based on the questions and answers that we provided on the application. As you noticed, it wasn't in the beginning, but because it's intuitive, it did add that later. Once the application's at 100%, it lets you go ahead and complete it, and you get to the signing screens. On these signing screens, you have two different options. You can e-signature right then and there with your client signing on the keyboard, and then it's complete, and it goes in, you sign, they sign, everybody does it all in one session. If you're doing this where your client isn't sitting in front of you and you need to have the client sign it separately, you would just use e-signature, and it will email a link to the client, and then from there the client will get it, they will sign it, then it will come back in you'll get it, you'll sign it, it's all electronic through the email links, and then it comes in for processing. So here it shows you the owner and the agent still need to sign. They completed all the signatures now, so we can move forward to getting it processed. That was the e-signature section. This is what it looks like on that sign now section. Just right here, you put in some basic information. Either option always asks the client to verify the same basic information, their driver's license number, their name, the last four of their social, date of birth, and email, just to make sure that it is who they say they are completing this. When you're doing the sign in person or the review for the eApp, it will look just like this. It gives you the option, and the client does have to click on each and review the form and make sure that it is filled out accurately. As long as everything is good to go, they can sign it and send it in. If they do find an error, you'll need to go back in and copy the application, make the corrections needed, go back through and re-sign everything. Because once they're locked, you cannot make corrections for compliance reasons. So if they do find something at this point, it's not a problem. There's a copy button. You just copy, send it back to them again. If there's no errors, they just continue on with signing. This shows an example of when we did a sign now. I've been the client on all of these, so we signed the name. Amber shows as the agent here, so she then went in and signed her name. You have the option of typing the name like we've done here. You can use the mouse and write your name. If you're using a stylus with your computer, you can write your name. It's whatever works best for you and your client and their comfort level. The carriers do accept these. They've approved them. These are their approved forms and version of everything, so they will accept these. The only exception to that is if you're doing an annuity, transfer forms may still need to be original wet signatures, and if that's the case, we'll let you know. And on life insurance, occasionally, in addition to transfer forms, they'll need an actual HIPAA form signed. So if that comes up, we'll let you know as we're working through the carriers. But otherwise, you can just go ahead and do everything on e-signature. And here you can see we've submitted it. It's reminding us there's no further edits allowed. You've submitted it. It's good to go. We're going to send it in. Anything beyond this would require corrections depending upon the carrier requirements. So initials and dates on the corrections, an amendment, etc. So we want to make sure it's in good order. When that application goes in, the client does get an email from the FireLight platform, and this is an example of what they get. And it does come from you, the agent, because you're logged in as you. When it shows the return on the email, it will say that it came from you. So in this case, it says it came from Amber Williams because she was the agent. And it just lets me know that Amber submitted an application on my behalf. And here's a way I can get a copy of that application if I'd like it for my files. This is what you, the agent, gets. You will get an email from us letting you know that that application's been submitted as well. Because once those e-apps come in here, we do take a moment to review them to make sure your product training and things are done before we finish approving them. If we run into a problem, we're going to let you know. Otherwise, we're going to go ahead and just get it submitted and off to the carrier for processing. This does not eliminate the need for that product training, so that is the one big thing to be careful of if you're doing the e-app, just like the paper app. Always make sure your licensing and product training is in good order before you start the e-app, because these are date and time stamped, and they can stop you from continuing or submitting it with some of the carriers if it's not completed. Not all checks and balances are done on that, so it depends on the carrier. So some won't check it till they receive the app. So just make sure, and if you're not sure, call in to our marketing department. Anyone would be happy to help you check that product training and licensing to make sure you're in good order to go ahead and start that application. You do have multiple ways to submit applications to IAMS if you're doing a traditional paper app, or if you do an e-app and have those wet signatures. Just be aware of these. You have annuity new business at imsinc.com. If you're doing the FireLight e-app, you can still, everything will go in for you. We have fax, and then of course our local mailing address for overnights and originals that need to come in. No Paper November. We're excited to launch FireLight. We think that it's a great way to get applications in, get them in complete, and I've done quite a few testing applications on this, and I found it's really easy to work with. And if any of you know, I'm not an annuity agent. I have not worked on the annuity side in quite a long time. So for me to go in and do a test app, it was completely foreign to me to fill these out. So it was a good test to go in because I didn't know what needed to go where without reading it and completing it. So it'd be just like a new agent or someone who's working with these out in the field. So that was great. And I didn't find it difficult at all. Just filled in the information. If I missed something, it told me what box to go back and fill in, made sure it was complete. I couldn't miss something. I couldn't overlook something because I didn't know the products, I didn't know the carriers, and I didn't know the paperwork. So it was my first time looking at a lot of this, and it was very easy, and I felt very comfortable. And if I was doing it on a real client, would have been comfortable completing that and not resorting to paper, because on paper I could easily have missed something. Once you submit your first application, as we mentioned, we're going to send you some I'm Swag as a thank you, because we do appreciate you taking the time to go in and give that a chance and see how easy and cooperative the system can be. And then we'll enter you in a cash prize drawing, and each week we're going to do cash prize drawings based on the entries in anyone who's completed an e-application that week. At this point, if you have any questions, please feel free to call in. You can ask for me. Again, my name is Cynthia, or ask for anyone on the FireLight support team. We're happy to answer those questions, help you with registration, make sure you're all set to go to get these e-applications in. Our phone number here is 800-255-5055. And we look forward to talking with you soon.